I need a fast and reliable way of getting dyes for my shop. As you can see, I'm running out of the more niche colours. Primary colours I'm seemingly okay with. So today I'm going to be building several super simple and fast flower and dye farms. Now those of you that watch me regularly may be thinking, Cuzzer, didn't you build a giant flower farm? And yes, I did, but two things. Firstly, it eats bone meal. Secondly, while it produces a wider array of dyes for me, it's not as quick and efficient to make some colours, because as you can see it relies on bone mealing a larger area of grass, breaking that grass and seeing what drops, which are mostly wheat seeds apparently. Now fortunately for the server I'm playing on, that's not a bad thing, it's actually an awesome bonus. Firstly, I have auto composters which converts a lot of it back into bone meal for me. But secondly, I'm playing on a server called Simple Survival. Check the description for the IP if you're interested. And I can sell all of these seeds for money! But the key to today's farm, if you look at the larger versions of flowers we have in Minecraft, such as the rosebush, the peony, the lilac and the sunflower, if you notice when I bone meal these, I get a 1-for-1 back every time, which is going to make it much quicker to get my magenta and pink dyes and takes care of orange pretty much. Which means all these excess seeds I can stop composting as they're terrible at making bone meal anyway and start selling for money. So how are we going to automate this? Well, it's easy. First I need to decide on a site. I'm going to try and build mine on the existing site of my flower farm. The redstone limit shouldn't be an issue, but if you're going to build in the same chunk of an existing redstone build on your server, which you can check by pressing F3 and G together, just double check what your server's redstone limits per chunk are and maybe build somewhere else if it's going to be an issue. And I'm just going to dig myself out a small area here. If you're wondering why there's coloured wool everywhere or how the main flower farm works, I'll link it at the end of this video. Okay, cool, so that's my hole dug, and you can see I've used some red wool here that I've dug out the floor to mark where my places are going to go. So I'm going to have 3 roses there, 3 phonies there, 3 lilacs and 3 sunflowers. That's how I'm going to run it. And the first thing I'm going to do is place a barrel or a chest in front of each thing. I'm using a barrel because I think they're going to look prettier in my build here. I'm going to place one of those in front of each of these. And then I need, where this red wall block is, a hopper in the back of each of these. Perfect. Now on top of these hoppers, what we're going to do is we're going to place our grass block, or dirt block in this case, and this is going to be what our plants are going to be sitting on. Then for my design we need a stair placed behind each of these dirt blocks, tap to each end with any block you want. I'm just going to use dirt for now. So you have something that looks like this. Now I'm just going to add water into these. If you're wondering what on earth I'm doing, don't worry, it will make sense in a second. Okay, so with all of them done, let's talk about why we're doing this. So everyone normally knows that with a normal hopper, if you throw an item on top of a full block, the hopper cannot pick it up through a block. So usually for these kind of designs, you'd have to do a hopper minecart on top of a hopper, and what that would do, playing on a server like this, it would just increase the amount of redstone that you got to use and potentially cause your farm to go over the limit, or it's just going to cost you more iron in normal survival games. However, with this water here, it means I can turn this into farmland and it won't ever despawn from farmland because it is next to a piece of water. And what that does is it lowers it by 1 whole pixel. By lowering it by 1 whole pixel, that enables hoppers to pick up items through the block. There we go. Science! And we can even still plant our plants on top of the farmland. So it's perfect. So now we need to place our dispensers. Now, ironically, we probably should have done it before we placed the flowers, but I got excited showing you how the tilled tiles still work. We want the dispensers facing towards us like that, because that's going to be shooting the bone meal on top of the flower. Now, just in case you go doing this on your worlds and all you want is 1 of each, so 1 rose, 1 lilac, etc, etc, I suggest doing a 1 block gap between each one, because otherwise what will happen is the hoppers may pick a bit up from each and you'll end up with a mess in your barrels. I don't need to worry about this because I don't care which one of the hoppers pick up all of the rose bushes in that tree or the lilacs in that tree, etc, etc. So I can place mine next to each other. And now we can put our flowers in. Silly Cuzzer, getting carried away. So with the flowers in then, I'm just going to run a redstone loop. So obviously if you were just doing a mini version of this with just 3 or 4, you would just run a loop around the back. Because I'm doing a whole room, I'm going to run a whole redstone loop around the whole area. And something that you need to be aware of with dispensers, you need to go over a block around the back, or you need to go over to the top of them with the redstone for them to fire. I don't want to go over the top of them because I want to do one of two things. I either want to add hoppers to the top to automatically put bone meal back in the dispensers, or I want to at least make it pretty and cover it with some kind of decorative block. So I'm putting a block at the back of the dispenser and running the redstone dust around the back. That redstone loop in, then I'm just going to cover the fronts of these. You can use some upside down stairs like these, because although I'm using barrels, it just shows you the kind of things that you could be using if you was using chests, or you could also use glass. And speaking of glass, I'm going to cover the front of these in glass and then make sure that they're completely caged in, and then finish off the last of the redstone. So how do we switch this thing on and off then? How do we make this repeatedly go? Well, you can see I've cleared this area out here for doing our switching mechanism right by my shiny diamond tree. Diamond tree says like and subscribe. So after that shameless plug, what's the easiest way of making a rapid on and off clock that's toggleable and will power this farm? Well, you can see I've got a lever in the center of my farm there. That's going to be the on and off. You can see this row of redstone dust coming up here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a step up for that, and then there's going to be a shapes like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to place a bit of redstone dust there, repeat going this way, and then a redstone lamp in there. Make sure that's on 2 ticks so that it's not going to burn itself out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this line away from there, staying away from it. Oh, there we go. Loop it back round itself. I'm going to bring it into this repeater here, which will boost the signal. And you should be able to hear all of my dispensers firing. Fantastic. But then when I link this signal up, because the system should be turned off at the minute, when I hook this up, beautiful, that turns that off. So if I hop down then to where the lever is and I flick the lever, hey, the whole system activates and I've got a stalker. Right, should we make this place look a little less ugly? Hi Andy. Hi Banana. So to make this farm a little less ugly, I'm going to need some resources for my storeroom, and those of you who have been watching me a while will be really proud of me, because you remember what my storeroom used to look like. This is what it looks like now. That's right, I've tidied everything up. Well, for the most part. There's still a few chest, not so much chest monsters, but chest messes. So yeah, I'm just going to need a few resources from here, and a quick AFK session over at the bone meal farm. I find this farm very satisfying to watch, and I like its goodies even more. Okay, so that is now my main flower farm, fitted with its own little mini basement. You can see my main way down here is through this little water stream here. Then I hop out here. I've left the back open here because I had enough redstone limit to be able to put hoppers on top of the dispensers. So I can fill all of these now with bones, which if you look in my ender chest here, and you'll be really proud of me, those of you that are regulars on the channel, look at how organized this is. Rockets, project boxes, redstone, all the dyes for my shops, woods for the shops, bones for the flower farm. So I'm just going to fill these barrels up. Okay, that's both flower farms filled, including the main one up here, which I've filled to the top, and then the other ones downstairs. I've filled them up to their dispensers are full and the hopper feeding them are full. The barrels aren't. Just a word of advice, that alone has taken 3 full shulkers of bones. So if you're going to have flower farms and you're going to reliably make dye, you're going to need a bone meal farm, ideally a skeleton one, to make the amount of bones that you're going to need. So I'm going to run this now until it runs out of bones, and we'll see what we get from it. Cue some music. So this one did pretty good. You can see I've got shulker box of seeds there, shulker box of yellow, shulker box, half a shulker box of blue, half of red, full of yellow, and a good amount of grey dye. And a couple more seeds. That used obviously an extreme amount of bone meal to make, and if it wasn't for the fact that I'm playing on Simple Survival, I'd have had a lot of wheat seeds that really are useless. I mean, it's only lucky that I'm playing Simple Survival that I can sell them and make some money off of it. Whereas we look in this farm down here, we're not going to have any seeds, but if we look at that one, look at that. That is a lot of pink dye. Fantastic. And that really was not running for very long. That was not running for long at all. Interestingly, some have got more in them than others. Oh, I wonder whether I think some hoppers have just stolen more than others. Yeah, let's get that made up and stock up our shop. I think one of the things I really messed up on is not having a really nice big open room for making my dyes in. I completely forgot that because they're big plants as well, for every one I do, I get 2 dyes. So for one bone meal, I'm getting 2 dye. Okay, I'm slightly annoyed at myself. If you have a new world, I'm slightly annoyed that I didn't build this before the big one up there. If you have a new world, build this, because this will give you like 60% of the dyes that you need, and you'll be able to easily run a shop if you want to run a shop. And for the amount of resources it took to set up, it doesn't take much. And look at this. I started taking these apart, and then I realised when I was doing the pink that actually I'm going to have to leave them as plants because they're taking up too much room. But it's just absolute masses of it. So much that not only have I been able to fill my pink dye for the shop, magenta for the shop, orange, yellow, red, purple, I've not even touched the stuff from the main flower farm yet. The only stuff that I did use was the blue dye. So all that can be turned into bone meal kept for my personal dye. Which makes me wonder whether I move this flower farm, move it somewhere that's got blue flowers only. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. But one good thing that I did get from the main farm is I did get all of these wheat seeds. So let's sell these now and see how much we get. £5,919 just in wheat seeds from this up here, because I don't need to use them anymore because I've got all this I can use for making extra bone meal. I would call that mini flower farm a success. I suppose we go stock the shop now. And that is finally the shop fully restocked. So if you've been waiting for the shop to finally be in stock of dyes, you're welcome. It's done. Come on by. After all that craft, I think it's time we took the weight off our feet, had a nice chill on the rooftop here, and just take in the ambiance of the Simple Survival shopping district. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope you found the design and the talk through useful and interesting. Maybe you can make them on your own servers or in your own bases if you play Simple Survival. If you have enjoyed the episode, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Maybe check out one of these videos up here, especially if you want to look at how I did the main dye farm. And until next time, love you, miss you, bye.